Okay, continuing in 6.2 at the top of page 3, one technique to really be solid in what you know is to also be able to recognize what you can't do. And so the author takes some time on page 353 to provide a little study tip and show you some common errors that students can make when you're trying to simplify exponential expressions. So in this left column, it's hard to read on the notes, so you'll definitely want to go to page 353 in the book to refer to this. But there's some correct ways to do it and then some incorrect ways to do it. And because our exams are multiple choice, you'll notice that as we do problems like this, I will actually do the problem correctly and put the answer there, and then I'll do what I see a lot of students do in terms of errors and put those as the answer. That helps me understand what the typical error is that you might be making if you go for one of those decoy answers. It's not meant to trick you, it's meant to really test what you know, and it's a way of highlighting for me very quickly what issue you're having. So make sure you take a look at this and remember that the correct way to do it, and watch for these incorrects to show up. If they do, go back to this table, remind yourself of what you're supposed to be doing, and perhaps you need to even write out the steps a little bit clearer and longer for yourself to get those bad habits out of the way. Next, we're going to look at finding the product of a monomial and a polynomial, which we've done before. We've just always called it distribution because it was usually just a single number out here, or a negative number that we were distributing across the parentheses. So we aren't doing anything different per se. We're just going to be involving some more variables and exponents. So as you multiply a monomial by a polynomial, it should feel like distribution. Just now with exponent rules. Okay, so let's look at what that looks like. We're going to be taking 4y squared and multiplying it by y squared, and again by the 2y. So it's 4y squared. And this is one way you can do it. If you find that you tend to drop pieces, you can write it out as 4y squared times 2 pieces, and always the plus out here. And then you can just keep signs with what is already sitting there. And we'll look at that when negatives show up. So I'm distributing the 4y squared to each of those 2 pieces inside the parentheses. And then you use our rules of exponents. We're multiplying same bases here, so this becomes 4y to the 2 plus 2, or 4y to the 4th. And this one is 4 times 2, which is going to become 8. Actually, maybe we'll take 2 steps to do this. 4 times 2, and then y squared times y. Think of this as y to the 1st. So that's y to the 2 plus 1, which will give you 4 times 2 is 8, y to the 3rd. And again, we still have the plus. Because we're always looking to simplify, at this point you want to make sure that they're exactly matching like terms before you combine these. So y to the 4th and y cubed, these are not like terms. The base and the exponent have to match exactly. So this is as far as it can go. Your final answer is 4y to the 4th plus 8y cubed. It's done. Now let's look at number 50. And we've got parentheses 4x cubed plus 5x squared parentheses times 2x. What's different about this one? Well, it's got x's. Yeah, that shouldn't throw us. The big difference here is that piece that we're multiplying is sitting on the right side. And for most of our distribution experience, we've been real comfortable with it sitting on the left. Okay? So, but distribution can happen this direction too. You can multiply both pieces from the right-hand side. Okay? But you can rearrange if you prefer. to look like 2x times 4x cubed plus 5x squared. And again, as you distribute, that would get multiplied by both pieces. So we're multiplying 2x by the first piece plus 2x times the second piece. Notice this plus just comes down. And again, everything is positive, so we aren't worrying about that too much. In the try problem, you will get a chance to play around with the negatives and see what you can come up with here. We're going to multiply here by 4x cubed and 5x squared, which on the left side we've got the 2 times the 4, and this is x to the first, so it's x to the 1 plus 3, plus 2 times 5, this is x to the 1, so it's x to the 1 plus 2. And that gives us 2 times 4 is 8, x to the 1 plus 3 is x to the 4th, plus 2 times 5 is 10, x to the 1 plus 2 is 3. And again, that doesn't match. They don't match, therefore they're not like terms. And we're not talking about the coefficients, we're talking about the base and the exponent have to match. So that final answer stays as is, 8x to the 4th plus 10x cubed.